Hello there, World of Tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, World of Tanks Blitz, and in today's video, I'll be playing in the LORRAINE 50T. This is a vehicle that you will not be getting your hands on. Why? Well, that is because currently the only way to get this tank is in the lottery event that is currently going on. Essentially, inside of these lottery balls, you can get one of these diamond lottery balls. And one of these diamond lottery balls, which has a 0.02% drop chance, will give you the LORRAINE 50T. So essentially, AE Phase 1 levels of drop chance here. Some very, very lucky players will get this tank. And for the rest of us, well, yeah, it's just not going to happen. I mean, I've spent a very large sum of money trying to get the AE Phase 1. Never did on my main account, so that's why I'm playing this on a press account. So in today's video, I'll be letting you know everything you're going to want to most likely counter this tank on the battlefield, and my overall opinions on this tank. If it ever gets sold again in the future, then hopefully this serves you as a guide as well. So, we're going to start off getting a brief look at the statistics of this vehicle, so we can see what is good and what is bad. Aiming time, 3.7 seconds, which is okay. It's got 0.326 dispersion, which is also okay. Average damage per minute, 2,450. Okay. And the penetration is also It's got APCR standard, which is 270. That's alright, I guess. The heat is 362 mils with Cali. That's obviously pretty good. You're going to be able to cut through the majority of armor in front of you. The average damage is weird. It's 380 on the standard, 320 on the gold, and 515 on the HE. So it hits really hard if you pen high explosive, but its standard alpha is that of a concept 1B. Not a very hard hitter. Does feature 10 degrees gun depression, though, which is obviously very, very nice. Something I should mention is that this vehicle features absolutely dookie balls on movement dispersion. 0.22 on hull traverse, 0.205 on just any movement whatsoever. And even the on turret traverse is still pretty bad at 0.138. This is not an accurate vehicle on the move, and I haven't driven it yet, but I can guarantee we are going to notice that this tank balloons a lot on move. So it is definitely going to be mandatory to run V-stabs on this vehicle. Mobility-wise, it's quite fast. It reaches a top speed of 43. And even though traverse speed isn't very good, it has a pretty good power to weight of almost 17, which allows you to accelerate up to your top speed, ideally pretty quick. So you've got really good gun depression, decent mobility, solid DPM, but pretty bad on move. Well, there's one last little thing going for it, and that is tungsten shells. This vehicle features tungsten and adrenaline, which means that you can obviously get out some pretty good bleeds. So normally I would run armor on a tank like this, but well, let's make our way over to the armor department so we can see exactly what we're working with here. And yeah, I'm going to be honest, it's not much. Your upper plate is 160 effective. Yeah, this is a tier 9 heavy. Its lower plate is actually surprisingly good at about 200, but even then, 200 is not good. It's just good compared to the upper plate. The turret is very good. I mean, we can see the entire turret, even loading gold shells with Cali, is it's pretty dang hard to cut through. If you hit anywhere on the mantlet, there's no way you're penning. The edges are upwards of 700, so you only got like these little spots here. It's a pretty tricky tank to pen when using gun depression, but if you poke even the slightest sliver of the hull, it's always going to be a pen, unless you're like angled like this and somebody bounces. But yeah, chances are you're going to be penned whenever you expose the hull. The sides are pretty bad as well, only about 70. The rear is 70 as well. The back of the turret is 70. Essentially, if you're using a T30, an ISU 152, anything that has a high alpha HE, yeah, this is definitely going to be quite an easy tank to shoot at. So, armor-wise, it's really good on the turret. Everywhere else is absolutely tragic. Mobility, we're going to have to see how it feels, but I think it's going to be pretty good. DPM and overall accuracy seems okay, but that on-move is pretty bad. So, when you combine all these things together, this is definitely a holding tank that you're going to want to play aggressive hull down, but not over-aggressive. If you put this tank in a position where your opponents can shoot it in the weak spots, which is the entire hull, you're going to have to be very careful. It doesn't reverse at 20, which I actually think it should, based off of the stats we've just looked at, but because it only reverses at 15, you are going to have to be incredibly cautious about where you position this tank. Autoloaders are going to rip into you. The 183, don't even get me started on that. So, yeah, I can imagine that in a hull down position it's great, but the moment your team falls apart or the moment you can't hold that spot anymore is when you are instantly going to die in this tank. Alright, here we are on Alpenstadt. Let's see what we can do. Now, I'm expecting this tank to be fairly mobile, and I think the mobility is really going to either make or break this tank. If it's fast, at least it won't be super reliant on armor, but I don't know. This thing is very large, and even though it has a lot of gun depression, it's going to be very awkward to try and hide that incredibly weak hull. Thankfully, the gun does have decent damage per minute, but I feel like its accuracy should be a little bit better on move, at least, to make up for that. I don't know. Mobility-wise, it's quite quick, though. I will say that. At least it feels nice in that situation. What does the enemy team have? They got a KV Junior. That's going to be a little cringe, because we're in a tank that basically has 0 armor against that. They have a Caliban. Oh, boy! Wow, they really got the lucky matchmaking against my tank, didn't they? Alright, well, I don't know where the enemy team is. I'd love if they got, like, spotted, but interesting. There's an M46 Patton. I'm gonna go low, and if I run in the enemy team, then whatever. Let's see. Oh, we are spotted. There's a Chimera in their spawn. So they had 2 vehicles camping in their spawn, a Chimera and a Swindler. Oh, and a T-28, so that's 3 tanks camping in their spawn. Well, that shell did not go where I wanted it to, and it low-rolled quite a bit, man. Well, good example of this tank's accuracy. It is not very accurate at all. Oh, boy. I'm not loving this gun so far. I gotta be real. Well, let's activate our tungsten and aim it on the KV. There you go. 440 damage, not bad. Let's see, we got the CS on our flank, and we're just gonna chill right here for now. Oh, is he gonna poke it again? I'm not... What? What? Okay. Where did he pen me? In the hull. Apparently he saw my hull from that angle. There's no way we're going to win this on base cap, right, guys? There's no way. I refuse to believe this. I mean, we're already at 80 on the base cap. Bro. There's no way we win this on base cap. Oh my god. Bro. This is the worst game I've ever played in my life. This is actually the worst game I've ever played in my life. We just... Not affirmative. Of course he's in the Ohio clan. Of course. That's actually the worst team I've ever seen in my life. We just won on base cap in the first minute of a battle! What am I watching, bro? What? Wow, there you go. That's a tier 9 battle, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you learned a lot about the LORRAINE 50T. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Wow. Wow. That Centurion, you suck, bro. Oh, wow. Wow. That could have been a really good game, too. I mean, we were at a pretty solid amount of damage there. And it was only, what, the first minute of the game? And we probably could have dealt 4K, but, nope. Nope, we're going to cap the base in our medium tank, because that's what effective teammates do. Okay, we arrive on Dynasty's Pearl. I'm not going to lie, I've played 4 games in the tank now. And, I'm having mixed opinions on this vehicle. I always try to play, like, 1 or 2 games after my first, just to get an idea of how I feel about the tank. And the mobility's nice, the turret armor's fantastic, but there's 2 major problems with the vehicle. First of all, I can tell you already, especially when you're fighting tier 10s, if your team falls apart, there's nothing you're going to be able to do. I mean, sure, this tank has good mobility, and it's got flexibility, but it just doesn't have armor. And armor, at the end of the day, is still a very important thing to have on a heavy. This is a large tank, it's got basically just a massive weak spot for people to farm. The other problem is the accuracy. It's bad armor paired with bad accuracy. You don't want to have a tank that has poor accuracy to have to sit out in the open aiming at shots. But that's what it kind of feels like when you're driving this tank. You have literally Dookie Balls level of accuracy. To the point where, well, I mean, you have to literally aim in for like a solid 2 seconds to actually get a shot out properly in this tank, which is definitely a problem if you want my opinion. Well, we got a shell into the ISU, pretty good. Let's reload. And we'll see if the ISU shoots. I did not mean to block that Chimera. Well, I kind of did, but... oh boy, oh boy. Here it is, yep. Oh, we're just going to get pushed. Okay, let's aim it on the T-28. There you go. I don't know what these guys are doing, bro. Yep, just keep pushing me. Thank you, yep. I totally don't hope this player gets, like, banned. Not, totally not at all. Go! Like, he's not even trolling. That's the crazy part. Like, this guy's actually not trolling. He's just that bad at the game. Like, what am I looking at, bro? Well, crazy. Wow. The Ham. I'm having some great games right now. Oh, that made a lot of sense. Well, if I were to rate my experience out of 10 in this tank so far, it would probably be about a 5. I mean, the DPM's nice, and we're going to show that DPM here on this E75. The problem is, I mean, our armor is just literally useless. Like, it does not matter what I do in this situation, the E75 will always pen me. And not only that, but I have to literally load gold to pen him back. So look at this. I'm going to be a one-shot now for him because he high rolls here. I don't know. I don't see what you're supposed to do in this tank in these, like, engagements. But we have dealt 3k damage, which is pretty nice. Will he high roll me? That's the question. Well, let's see if we can... Yeah, I mean, again, just pretty L in the armor department. So, let's reload here. And, well, we are going to get one more shell out into the E75. However, we are going to die in the process. Unless the C75 manages to, like, bounce me. Which, what? What? Okay. That's not the AMX being good, or the LORRAINE being good. That is the E75 being bad. We were thankfully able to take advantage of him not shooting us in the upper plates. Rather surprising. Okay, so, good example overall in this battle of the LORRAINE and its capabilities here. Like, the gun is good. I like the gun. Like, DPM-wise, it's very solid, especially with tungsten. You can get out a lot of damage. And if you're able to aim in, its accuracy isn't too bad. It's .326. Its alpha damage, while a little bit lower, isn't a big hindrance. And the turret armor is very good when you're able to use it. But the problem is when you're able to use it is a very, very situational thing, you know? I think on any map that requires gun depression, like if you're on Dead Rail, this tank's going to be dominating. But if you're on a map like Himmelsdorf, which you actually can't get in the current map rotation, but you get my point. Any map where you are required to be flexible, you're requiring to have decent hull armor, that's where you're really going to struggle, especially when it's up against tier 10s. So here we are, another game in this tank. We are going to... Well, I'm not going to play super aggressive. They got a 50 TP, they got an E75. Those are pretty dangerous, plus a Progetto Contra Caro 55. So what we're going to do early game is we're going to use the mobility this tank has, and we're going to make it right over here. And then I'm hoping that I get some support. I mean, for some reason our Progetto is deciding that he doesn't really want to do his job as a heavy, and he's going to go over to the medium flank. We got the E75 over here. Interesting. Okay, well, we already have the E75. I'm going to activate. Nice shot to the enemy E75. Let's put on our adrenaline as well. And, let's see if we can get another shell out. There you go. Nice, and he misses as well. Pretty good stuff. I mean, as I said, this tank with tungsten does feel pretty dangerous. Really can't deny that at all. There you go. Another nice shot. We've already bled what was a pretty healthy E75 down quite a bit, but at the same time, it's just me and a Type 57 here, because our team, again, did not want to support. So, I'm going to start backing out, if I can. I mean, we got the Progetto, and we actually managed to lock his turret, which is quite huge, to be honest. Did not think we'd be able to do that, but we did, which gives us a huge advantage here. So I'm going to just back into the open, get one shell into his tank, position my tank in a way that the E75 can't hit me. However, our Type 57 misses a shot, which is rather sad. Oh, boy. Well, this is bad, especially because there's an unspotted 50 TP. I want to get out. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. This is really bad, actually. It's about as bad as it gets. Well, get the clearing shell into him. Type 57 still alive, which is actually pretty good. Let's see. Rush me. Rush me over the... Yes, just like that. Then I can get a shell into the side of your turret, and the Type 57 can shoot you. Yeah, this is a really bad enemy team, I'm going to be honest. To be fair, our team is not very good either. But the enemy team is really, really bad. Unfortunate. The 50 TP is a very, very hard tank to pen there. But, once again, we can see where this tank really, really struggles, and that is the armor department. There's just nothing you can really do. in this type of engagement here to beat your opponent. We are going to not even get that shell out. Unfortunate. It would have been nice if our Type 57 kind of like did something, but we did okay. I mean, we did over 3,000 damage. We bled out our opponents, but at the same time, we had no support from our Type 57, and yeah, a little disappointing. But as I said, the moment you get rushed in this tank, it's gonna suck. And that's what happened here. I mean, the enemy wasn't good, but they rushed me. They got away with it, and we died. Well, we did actually end up winning this game. I'm not surprised, as we were actually a big distraction there. The 50 TP ignored the Type 57 to go for me, which allowed the Type 57 to get out some clears and maneuver his tank around. And even though we had an AFK, it seems like we were still able to take advantage of the enemy team and get a win out. I mean, the E75, the Progetto, those guys did not know what they were doing, and we were able to really farm quite a bit off of that. It would have been great if my Progetto... I mean, the Progetto did decent. He did a lot of damage, but he still didn't do his job. If you're in a heavy and you're on a map like Falls Creek, just go to the bridge and support your heavies, especially when you have two other heavies there that are holding the entire flank for you. If I had gone over to medium side, it's very possible that could have been a loss, but it's not that big of a deal. We won, we did our job, and that's kind of what it feels like when I'm driving the Lorraine. I mean, I'm doing all right, 3,300 average damage for 6 games played in it. I'm going to try and get a tier 10 game before we end off on today's video, just because people always want to see a tier 10 match. Finally, we have gotten a tier 10 battle for the Lorraine. It took a lot longer than I expected it to, but we are here. So what do we have up against us? Standard B, Leopard 1, that's it. Oh, okay, well we've got a big medium, well, we had a big medium advantage. Unfortunately, our boss Chatillon has put himself in a very, very awkward position, which, wow, what are our medium, okay, well, there's a lot going on right now, and my brain's going brrrr. What I was trying to say is I don't know why our mediums are making their way over towards mid when we could be winning the medium flank. But then I watched the enemy Leopard get turned into literal Swiss cheese in front of me, so that's my reply. But again, it would be very helpful if our mediums were here to help out with that. Alright, well, our 30B appears to be YOLOing in. Oh, that's a lot of tanks. That does not go... What the heck, bro? That's our whole team. Alright, let's activate Tungsten. Nice 440 juicer into the enemy 183. Let's aim it on that 183 again. He is looking at me, but I feel like the chance of that 183, I was about to say, the chance of him hitting me is like very, very slim to none. So I wasn't really too worried about that. Wonder if we can get a tungsten. Well, we did get a tungsten shot out, but we basically just even traded. Alright, well, we're doing okay. Oh, we got the yo. There you go, 394. I'm really worried about, yeah, that. Oh boy, oh boy. It's either get shot in the side by the 268 or, oh, well, he still hits that. That's pretty cringe. I can't believe he hit us in the side of the turret there. I'm really hoping that our E50M, or not our E50M, but our E50 does some things to this 268. There you go. We get a shell out. But, of course, the 268 high rolls it, which unfortunately clears him. Oh boy, that is not great, but... Okay. Okay, well, we're still alive. That's the most important thing. Let's just back up, and let's maneuver over here to the rear of the enemy 183. Not... Oh. Bonk. There you go. I'm not really sure what that 183 is doing. I mean, we've basically got a grasp on the enemy right now. Because of where we've positioned, they are just in a very, very awkward position in general. There you go. Long live the enemy Kron. This is indeed going to be a win. So, I have to say, I didn't expect to like this tank as much as I actually am. I mean, it's not an amazing vehicle by any means, because, ooh, that was lucky. But yeah, this isn't, like, an overpowered tank or anything incredible, but it does feature a solid gun with decent DPM, and the fact that it has tungsten actually allows you to get out some really, really nasty shots. 268, that was pretty sad, I'm not gonna lie. You are going to regret that, good sir. I'm gonna make my way right over this ridge, and because we have 10 degrees, bonk, there you go. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised with the amount of gun depression this vehicle has. Thank you, E50, for the 100k sub thingy-ma-do. Alright, well, there you have it. That is indeed a win. And a 4,000 damage win. Okay, well, The AMX is, it's weird. I keep trying to call it the AMX, but it's a LORRAINE 50T is what it really is. It's a weird tank. The problem, as I said before, is you can't really get your hands on this vehicle because of the 0.02% drop chance. It's fun. It's got decent DPM, good mobility, and good turret armor, which does allow you, if played properly on larger maps like Canal, to get out pretty good results. We did 4,150, pair that with the 1,850 assistance. That was a 6,000 combined, so that's a pretty solid result. But at the end of the day, I do think that this is actually a pretty well-balanced tank. Personally, I would like to see the gun a little bit more accurate. I think that the dispersion should be 0.308, and its on-move should be a little better, but I think that it's still pretty good the way it is. I like it, and I'm doing okay in it statistically. 60% win rate of 3,300 average damage. It could have been higher on win rate, but at the end of the day, this is just a tank that's going to struggle to win because of the armor profile it features. But if you're able to use that gun, as you saw, we're getting a very good damage. So I actually like this tank quite a bit. It's very disappointing nobody can really get their hands on it, especially because this would be a rather fun vehicle if you could get your hands on it. But I guess we'll have to see if Wargaming does end up throwing this in crates at some point, or if it just stays. I would expect it to come in crates at some point. This is probably just a little sneak peek to the LORRAINE. The reason I'm saying this is because this event is only going to be in the game for a couple, maybe like 1 or 2 months, if that. So once the event's gone, this tank's gone. It's not like the AE Phase 1 where you can possibly get it if you're lucky in the operation containers. There's no way to get this unless you're like incredibly lucky. So yeah, you're basically going to have to wait if you don't get it, which most chances are you're not, until Wargaming brings it back out in crates in the future. So you got a little pre-review. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Obviously, if you enjoyed it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. Make sure to click that bell, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.